February 15, 2010. A dry, silent riverbed just north of Patrol Base Wahid, in Afghanistan's Helmand province. Then, a crack splits the air. A rocket screams skyward. Inside a sealed steel hull, Staff Sergeant Mark Eastley feels the entire vehicle shudder beneath him. Above, a blazing line uncoils, 230 meters of explosive hose whipping through the sky like a trail of fire. It lands. A heartbeat later, the earth erupts. The valley doesn't just shake, it lifts. Eastley would later struggle to explain it. Not just the sound. Not just the flash. But the feeling, like the air itself punches through your chest. The shockwave hits last, and that's when it becomes real. And here's the strange part. The machine delivering this violence doesn't even look like a weapon. No turret. No cannon. Instead, a massive hydraulic arm rises from its hull, more construction site than battlefield. Like someone welded an excavator onto a tank and sent it to war. At 62.5 tons, with a crew of just 3, it looks wrong. Too industrial. Too awkward. Almost absurd. But what you're looking at is one of the most specialized armored vehicles ever built. Over the next decade and a half, it would carve safe paths through some of the most dangerous terrain on Earth. It would rip open minefields, clear roads others wouldn't dare approach, and quietly save lives, again and again. Only 33 were ever made. Every single one is still in service. This is the Trojan. To understand why the Trojan exists, you have to go back. Not to Afghanistan, but to disaster. 1942 deep. British engineers, sappers, were cut down on exposed beaches, trying to clear obstacles by hand. The lesson was brutal, but clear. Never send engineers forward without protection. The answer came in steel. First, the Churchill AVIE, armed with a demolition weapon so crude and powerful it earned the nickname Flying Dustbin. On D-Day, those machines helped punch through Hitler's Atlantic Wall. Then came the Centurion AVIE, carrying a gun capable of collapsing bunkers with a single shot. By the Gulf War in 1991, those vehicles were so old their crews joked they belonged in an antique show. And still, they were needed. Because modern armies don't just fight enemies. They fight terrain. Obstacles. Minefields. By the late 1990s, Britain faced a problem. Its aging engineering tanks couldn't keep up with the modern battlefield, or with the Challenger 2. Something new was needed. Something that could move with the tanks. Not behind them. In 2001, the answer finally arrived. A £250 million program. 33 Trojan Engineer Vehicles. 33 Titan bridge layers. All built on the same chassis as the Challenger 2. By 2007, Trojan entered service. And unlike its predecessors, this wasn't just a demolition tank. It was something far more versatile. Under the armor, it carries the same 1,200 horsepower engine as a main battle tank. Same protection. Same mobility. But the real difference is what's mounted on top. A hydraulic arm with the strength to lift 6.5 tons, capable of digging trenches, tearing down walls, or clearing wreckage under fire. At the front, a full-width mine plow, 3.6 tons of hardened steel, able to rip through buried explosives while the crew remains sealed inside. At the rear, fascines, bundles used to fill gaps and ditches. And then, there's the system that defines it. Python. Python isn't a detector. It doesn't search for mines. It destroys them. A rocket launches, dragging a 230-meter hose packed with explosive across the ground. When it lands, the entire line detonates. In seconds, it clears a corridor up to 7 meters wide and 230 meters long. Mines don't get diffused. They get erased. Over 90% effectiveness. And whatever survives, the Trojan plows through. That's exactly what happened in Helmand. Operation Mushtarak, the largest offensive of the war. The route ahead was saturated with improvised explosive devices. Traditional clearing? Slow. Dangerous. Exposed. Trojan changed that. Instead of hours, seconds. Instead of men walking into danger, machines breaking it open. One crew fired Python into a mined waddy. Another drove straight through, plow down, tearing explosives out of the earth. Some detonated. The vehicle kept moving. By the end of the operation, multiple safe routes had been carved through territory that would have cost lives to clear on foot. No Trojans were lost. No crewmen killed. And that pattern held. Trojan didn't make headlines. It didn't deliver dramatic tank battles or cinematic firepower. But every road it cleared was one soldiers didn't have to risk their lives walking. Every mine it removed was one that wouldn't take a life days later. It was never about spectacle. It was about survival. After Afghanistan, Trojan didn't retire. It adapted. In Canada, it trains alongside full armored battle groups. In Estonia, it stands watch on NATO's eastern flank. During major exercises, it still leads from the front, breaching, clearing, opening the way. Because that's its role. Not to destroy the enemy directly, but to make it possible for others to advance. Other nations built their own versions. The American M1150, heavier, faster line charges. The German Kodiak, more flexible tools. The Israeli Puma, able to carry more engineers. Each has strengths. But none combine this level of armor, mobility, and breaching power in one package quite like Trojan. Only 33 were ever built. No exports. No widespread fame. Just a small fleet, doing a very specific job. And doing it well. Back in that Afghan riverbed in 2010, the explosion wasn't just a display of power. It was proof of an idea. Protect the engineer. Bring every tool. Move with the tanks. 80 years after the beaches of Normandy, that idea still holds. Because in war, the difference isn't always who fires the first shot. Sometimes, it's who clears the way. And when nothing else can, the Trojan does.